Hi everyone, welcome to our workshop today. We're going to be working on facial features in the lead up to doing some portraits next week. So we're going to be doing some eyes, some noses and some mouths with and without some teeth as well, to give you some extra skills on drawing different expressions. So all you need is a pencil, paper, a rubber if you'd like, and we'll get started. So we're going to start with an eye, and what I want us to do is just focus on the outline. So we're going to start and do this as big as you like or as small as you like. Just depends on how much detail you want to do. But I'm just using a HB pencil at the moment. And what I want us just to do is draw the outline of the eye. And you'll notice I have like a little bump here, and that's where the inner corner of our eye will be. So just, if you'd like, copy that or draw your basic eye shape. And when you've done that, I just want us to draw the iris. So we're going to have the top of it not completely a circle, so cut off a little bit. Don't want to get too big, so you can always go back and edit. Sorry, I've done mine a little bit big. I'm just gonna I'm actually just going to fix up the size a little bit. You can sort of, as you go, decide whether or not your proportions are right or wrong. As you go, just feel free to rub out little bits and add bits. Okay, so when you've done that as well, we're going to just lightly draw in sort of a semicircle just in here. And that's just going to be a highlight of the eye that we're going to look at later. And then this is going to be the center of our eye, this circle here, so the pupil. Oops, drawing that in.
Liv, we've got some hellos this morning already. So we've got Susie who said good morning. We've got Tony Smith, she said good morning. And we've got Linda with a Y and Rex back. They've said hello as well.
I know we've got people sticking around from the start to the end, which is amazing.
Excellent. What are we on? Are we on week 6?
I can't even remember.
7?
Week 6 or 7.
Yeah. And I've noticed, I've just gone and checked the Facebook. We've had so many people post their photos throughout the week. We've had people even posting photos from when we did trees, which I think was 2 weeks ago. And there's some great pictures in our landscapes one. I love what everybody's done and everybody's interpretation of the viaduct.
That was amazing. I loved everyone's different like angles on the bridge as well.
Fantastic.
I think we're going to get some good results today.
Oh, look, Tony's told us it's week 7. We're on week 7.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks for keeping track, Tony.
So when you've done that, we're just going to do a quite small of an outline, getting a little bit wider at the top and again skinnier, and stopping just before the corner of our eye, and that's where our eyelashes will be coming from. And then just doing the same underneath here as well. And you can even draw in the corner of the eye, just like that. So the more you add, the more you'll see it come together as well. And if you're not happy with something, don't go and rub the whole thing out. Lots of people when they draw go, oh, it doesn't look right, and then they rub the whole thing out and start again. We don't want to do that. If you see something like in the corner, just rub it out and stick on that for a little bit and then change it until you like it. So look at it as a whole instead of, I don't like that, let's rub it all out. Have a look at the eye just as the whole eye, and then if you see something that you're not liking as much as you thought you could, figure out where that stems from and just fix it. There's no need to rub it all out, and I think they'll all turn out really well today. So here on top is where we're going to add the eyelid. So still using the same pencil. And I could fix mine up a little bit too because I've got a bit of a curve. But we're pretty much just creating an eyelid. So coming back down, moving in there. Then under here, just create some lines as well. A good tip as well is when you're drawing a set of eyes, do one step with one and the same with the other eye so that you keep on track, because some people do the whole left eye instead of both and go, oh, I forgot what I did to make that left eye look really good. I'll just guess with the right eye. You can just do the same steps and one at a time with each eye. So that's a tip too. You can even just quickly and really lightly just create some eyebrow hairs if you want to. And I'm just using just some soft lines. That doesn't have to be perfect either, that's just a start. Okay, and I'm going to swap to a different pencil now. I'm going to swap to a 6B, but you can stay on the pencil you are at the moment. I'm just using a 6B because in the last lessons, I've explained that you don't have to press as hard to get the darkest colours, and this comes out quite dark. And I just want you to colour in the pupil and just a solid black, so as dark as you can get it and as flat as you can get it, so don't put any shading in there. And we're going to go around that highlight as well that we've done, so around that semicircle. So I don't want to go in there, I just want to go around it. And that is going to be the biggest part of contrast in our eye. and that helps it make it look more realistic too. So just colour in that pupil. Feel free to pop questions in as well. I'm always happy to answer them the best I can. Okay, so when you've done that, we're going to work on the iris. So you'll notice when you see pictures of eyes, they've got really cool lines coming in and out, little patterns, and just try and draw in some different shapes going from the inside to the outside. So some darker ones and some thinner ones, you can join them together and just do them in a rounded direction. So just like a clock, you're going from this way, angling all the way around the circle. Okay, so just take your time and do some of that. Add some different shapes and patterns in, different lines. So you can see I've got some longer ones. I've got some, I guess, like dots or oval shapes. And just fill in all through the circle. Add as much. The more you add, the more detailed your eye will look as well. And just stemming out from the iris, or the pupil, sorry. You can see what I've done there, and I'm just going to continue doing that sort of pattern all around the pupil. If you've got kids or grandkids that are at school at the moment, even get them to watch this tutorial on YouTube or Facebook, and this can really help them develop their drawing. I think they'd be able to follow these steps quite easily, the best they can. It'd be really cool to get some kids doing some more drawing too. I know we've had Miriam's family do it. Yeah, get them doing some more drawing. And just darken the outside line as well, so really define that. And I'd love to see your progress photos through as well. So if you've got time, send them through, and I'm really excited to see them. Just go around that highlight that we were talking about before, that semicircle. We're going to come back to that later. Let's keep the patterns going around it. Depends how big you've done your eye drawing. Also depends on how long it takes. And just pop in the comments when you're ready for the next step as well, just so I know when to move on.
So Liv, we've had a few progress photos sent through. I am just trying to get them in an album and I'll get them up, but there's a couple that have come through and I'll let you know when I've got them.
Awesome. Let's give you a few more minutes on that and then we'll move on to the next step. I promise it'll all come together and it won't be a weird circle with patterns in it. It'll look a bit more like a eye very soon.
Liv, the eyebrow makes me laugh because it's a little bit messy like everybody's eyebrows have been because all our beauticians have been shut. And maybe during the week, people's eyebrows will be a bit more manicured because they've all opened back up again.
I know, I'm excited.
Very excited. It's very exciting.
And I reckon that's a poor attempt at an eyebrow that I've done there. I was just like, oh.
I think they need some shaping done. You might need a bit of threading, that one.
Sorry.
Bit of fill.
Okay, so I'll get moving in just a minute or two. Okay, so when you finish that, I want us to use our shading technique. And as you can see, we've got our eyelid up here, and that would, in real life, cast a bit of a shadow on the top of the eye. So up the top is where we're going to shade over what we've done, not too dark and not too light, sort of a medium shade. So, but at the top, we're going to have it a little bit darker, and that's just because our eyelid's going to be here, and that's where we'll have a bit of a shadow, won't be hitting the light as much. So and we're going to gradually shade down, and just from the bottom as well, we're just going to keep that one solid tone throughout, and maybe a little bit darker around. So darker at the top, and then just keep shading, maybe just a lighter tone throughout the rest of the eye. So we're using our blending technique. If you're new to watching these videos, in week 1 we did a technique class, and you can jump back on the Wollongilly Facebook or go on their YouTube to find that if you'd like to go through some of the techniques that I explained through the video. So you'll see here I'm doing a lighter shade than I did at the top. We're just softly blending over the top.
Just on that, Liv, we've realised that our Facebook Lives stay up there for a good couple of weeks, but if you're trying to find the very first one, you'll actually need to jump on the library YouTube channel where it's saved on there, because it seems to be that Facebook Live stay up just for one, I think it's 2 or 3 weeks max.
Okay.
And then they're not there anymore. So yeah, jumping across to the YouTube channel is probably the best way to look back from our first couple of sessions.
Oh, thank you. And you'll see that I'm leaving this white, and we're going to come back to it later. So just the highlight there. Even do a little bit of darker shading around the eye. So around that circle that we've done around the edges. So just a little bit darker, not too much. And if you'd like, just tidy up the edges by outlining it again, or rubbing some out. So tidying up that circle. Hey Vicky, where can I find any progress shots?
I was just about to jump on. I think I've uploaded it properly. So if you jump on now, you should see it under a title, Learn to Draw Facial Features.
Oh, here we go. Beautiful.
There should be 4. Can you see 4?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Nailed it.
Now they look really, really good. So we just want that shading on top to be lighter than our pattern that we've done underneath. So if you'd like, you can go back over some pattern marks and make them a bit darker. Otherwise, if you're happy with them quite light, then you can keep them light. Just make sure that your blending over the top is a little bit lighter than the pattern that you've done. Okay, so when we've done that, and I'll come back to the eyebrow later, what we're going to do is we're going to darken this top outline just by going over it again. And I'm using my 6B, but you can use any pencil you like. So just to darken that. And then underneath, we're just doing a tiny bit of shading. So just underneath. And it's very soft. Just to give a little bit of shadow. It's not very thick at all, so you'll notice that I've only done that much shading there. And then what you can do is just very softly, a little bit softer, bring it down a little bit further, but I'm barely touching my page here. And I'm just using normal paper too. You can just to create that roundness, so I guess the illusion that it's 3D, the eye is 3D. Bring that shading down and around just a little bit, and I'm barely touching the page. And you'll notice there's just a little bit more shading there. And you can also darken this line up a little bit too. Okay, so when you've done that, we're just going to do the same with the bottom line. So this is like the bottom lash line. And very softly, just add a little bit of blending there as well. And just even from the outer corner, a little bit of blending there. And then just lightly, a little bit darker towards the inner corner here. So it's not too much, it's very subtle, but it just gives the eye some extra shading. So we've just lightly shaded along the bottom lash line and a little bit darker towards the center. And just shade in the center a little bit too. Okay, so next is I guess the middle line that we've done just above the eye, and just do a little bit of shading over that. So we're sort of outlining it, but just with shading, just going over the top of it. And just shading down as well. Just gonna fill in there as well. So a darker shade over the top of that line. So we're pretty much outlining this with a darker shade and then very softly coloring the rest in. And then just at the bottom too. So just shading over that, lightly shading in between. And then here we're really going to darken this. So going underneath this eyelid, and that's going to be a bigger shadow. And then just starting darker at the top, so where that line is, and then we're lightly going to blend down. So we're going from darker to softer by the time we get to our next line. Right. And then you can even blend any lines that you've done underneath. So just very softly. And then we're just gonna leave that, and then we'll do the lashes next. Okay, just about another minute on that, and then we'll move on to the lashes. So with the lashes, I'm using my 6B because I can create a really black. So like with the pupil, I can create my darkest black. So the harder you press down, the darker it's going to look, and then the lighter you press, the softer it's going to look. So just some small ones, usually on the inside. So just add, you can see that, a few little flicks coming in that direction, and quite small just in that gap that we've done there. Well, what we're going to do as well is we're going to start facing them around. So it's more trial and error with this. Got to sort of be quite confident. But by the time we get out here, we're going to have some lashes pointing in this direction. So press quite hard and flick them out. Okay, and then it's a bit tricky. As we get towards the center, they're sort of going to be flicking up. So up, out, and then this direction. So sort of got to work around and flick in the direction, and the lashes are going to be longer on this side. Lashes are really hard as well, so don't be too harsh on yourself if you're not too happy with them. I'm just being quite relaxed about where I put them too, so don't stress about placing them in the right or wrong spot. Just have a go, and if you want to change something, you can always rub it out, but just know it's practice. You can even just add some shading in there as well, just little bits, just to through the week as well, if you want to Google or choose photos where people have got like close-ups of eyes, feel free to even just try and copy that. And then if you'd like to be more precise with the lashes, especially, then you can zoom in on it, or you can try and copy it from an image. At the moment, it's not about creating the perfect eye, it's just about learning how to build upon the aspects of it. So if it's not turned out the way that you like, after this you should have the techniques and the skills to know how to do a really good eye, and practice that through the week as well. So when you've done that too, just going to do some small ones at the bottom. I'm just in an outward direction going this way, and then some coming to the front. We won't have too many this way. Maybe some really light ones, so I'm pressing my pencil down really lightly. And I don't want to do too much more than that, maybe darken some. If you've done them too light, you can always go over them. I like just to go for it and press down quite hard so I don't have to go over the top of the lashes I've already done. I think it looks nice when you just do that flick. So that's a closer view if you'd like to refer to any of that. Feel free to keep sending progress photos too. I'd love to see them as we go. And ask questions if you'd like to. I know this is quite a difficult thing to do. That's why I did it first, but I think you guys can really pull it off as well. So I'm really excited to see what you can do. Just 2 more minutes on the lashes. And then there's not heaps more to do really with this. You can just add as much or as little detail. We're gonna do this bit here, and then we're gonna do the inner corner. And then we'll move on to the lips. When you've done your lashes, it's okay if you haven't. I'm just going to give you the next step. Just lightly add another line in here. So hopefully you can see that there. And this is just like doing a 3D square or something, and you're just adding another side to it. So when you've done that, you can just add some light shading in there and add different tones too. So maybe darker in some spots and lighter. And I'm just going to shade that in. So just shaded darker at the bottom, shaded darker along that line, and really just mix it up. There's no right or wrong to that. Just some different tones.
We've got some more progress photos coming through, Liv, so I'm just working on getting them up, but they're looking fantastic.
I know I sort of threw everyone in the deep end again with this one.
This is a hard one, and it's actually got me thinking, today's my son's 7th birthday, and when he was born with the most amazing, big, beautiful eyes, and he still has them. He has these big, amazing eyes.
Aww.
And the only thing that's changed is the color. He's gone from having blue eyes to brown eyes to hazel eyes, and now he's got grey coloured eyes, which is really, really interesting. I'd actually really love to. I'm going to watch this back and I'm going to learn to draw them so then I can, do them of his eyes, because they're the most amazing things I've ever seen.
Happy birthday to him too. But yeah, I know this is a really hard one, but I'd rather give you all of the tools to draw a really detailed eye than just be able to draw a semi-detailed eye. I know lots of people, when they draw eyes, they sort of just go, just get the shapes in, do some lashes. I want us to skip that middle step and have all the skills to be able to do a more detailed eye, and I know you guys all have that. So I'm really excited to see all of the results, and hopefully you can practice, if you can practice all of these features from this lesson during the week, and even bring a photo of a loved one to the tutorial next week where we're actually drawing faces. So I'd love for people to maybe have a photo ready of someone they'd like to draw, and then we're going to implement these features into our own portraits as well. And you can even do that through the week, and try drawing someone's face and practice in preparation for next week. Okay, so when you've done that, I'm just going to show you what to do, and you don't have to do it straight away. This is sort of more our last aspect. The eyebrow, I only just sort of stopped that there. You can really create a proper eyebrow shape if you'd like. And create lines. This is just the hatching technique where it's just lines in the same direction. And you can actually do a proper eyebrow over the top and really give it some shape. I didn't do too detailed because we're focusing on the eye today, but if you'd like to finish your eyebrow, you can. And then you can just shade over that as well. So doing that hatching in the one direction, curving over. You can really create any shape you'd like, just leave a gap in between here and here. You can start building up just an eyebrow. You don't have to if you don't want to. I'm just doing it quite roughly just because I want to get to the other facial features, but you can really just use that hatching technique. That's a really good one for creating eyebrows, and similar to the eye, just do soft shading over the top as well, just to fill it in. So that's something you can do. I'm just going to leave that though, and we're going to come back to this. And what I want us to do as well is create some eyelash reflections. So it's quite dark a little bit. And I'm just gonna, and you don't have to copy mine, you can make up your own. I'm just adding different size, different direction lines up to about 3/4 of the way down. And that's just a little extra detail that you can add, and I think it makes it look quite dainty. And more real, I think the more detail that you put into something, and that goes for everything, the better it will look, or the more real it will look. And when you've done that, very softly, softer than the outside shading, just shade over the top. Very, very softly. And then in the bottom corner, you can just shade a little bit darker, just so you can still see that pupil shape in there as well. So it's not necessary, but I think it's like little details that you can add. So it's a little bit darker at the bottom here, just because it's over the pupil. We've got some of those lashes down, and very softly just shaded the rest. And I think you can look at the eye as a whole, and if you've got something that you want to fix or change, feel free to change it. Add anything extra if you want, but we'll just leave it there for the eye today.
So I've got the rest of the progress photos up, Liv, if you want to jump on and have a look.
They're amazing. I think I've got everybody's names right.
Oh my gosh, they're really good. They look so different with eyelashes.
Yeah, and so I've named, so your the first progress photo just says their name and then progress photo, and then the next one will say their name, progress photo, and number 2. So you can see a real difference.
Yeah, that's amazing. I hope you're all happy with them, and I hope you can sort of see where you can develop this even more with some more practice. It looks amazing, really, really good. I feel like I throw everyone in the deep end, but then I see the results and I'm like, nah, they're all good.
I think they're all good. They're doing really great. I'm just going to check if we've got any comments. Oh, Tony said happy birthday to your son. Thank you. I'll share that. He was very excited to go to school this morning. And so were we.
I'll just give you a little bit more time and just change anything if you like, add some more shading. You can even do it after the class and go, oh, I could add a bit more shading to the eyelid, or I could add some more pattern. You can always go back and add some more pattern in the iris of the eye. But yeah, I'm really happy with how those all look. So thank you for sticking with me and continuing to following along with these drawing tutorials too. Really, really cool. So when you've done that, we're going to flip over new page. Make a mess of my pages. And the next thing we're going to do is some lips. So we're not going to spend as much time on the lips as we are with, as we did with the eyes. And then we'll get a nose in there as well. So lips are quite easy. I'm just going to stick, like usually for outlines, just use something like a H or a HB, just so you can very softly draw in the shape. And you usually start with the center of the mouth. So what we can do, just very softly. So it's sort of like, if you're thinking a straight line, just have like a little curve in the middle. You can even draw a straight line and then choose, okay, do I want it to be quite a small mouth or a curved one? So you can really choose and think, oh, do I want to add like a M in the middle? But I'm just going to leave it as just a soft curve and then rub out that line. And that's going to be the center of our mouth. It's hard to sort of make it look like anything at the moment. Okay, so we're there. And then it's about choosing how thick or thin you want the lips. So I might choose to have a thicker bottom lip. So I'm just going to come down and just in the center give a guide for it. So you can go up closer if you want a thinner lip. So this is the center of our lips. So where our mouth closes. And this is going to be the bottom. So you can choose to have thicker lips or thinner lips. And then at the top, you can choose the same. So we're going to create sort of little arches. Just like that. And again, you can choose how high they are. They can be like pointy, they can be quite flat, like that. Just bring them together at the center like that. You can have the top lip quite skinny as well. So you can have it down here. But I'm just going to choose to draw some fuller lips today. And make sure these are sort of in the center as well. So you've got your line that you've done, a bit of a curve in the middle, and just make sure these are a little bit in the center. You can also choose how long this line is to determine how long the lips will be. So I could even rub out a little bit on each side and make them a little bit smaller. Could be someone pouting. You can really have a play around and choose what you want to do. And then when you finish those two, just join these together. These are going to be the corner of our lips. You can choose how rounded they are too. You can really come underneath and change the shape of the mouth. Just in whatever way you can join them together. And then do the same with the bottom lip. And I might actually make that thicker. So you can always change things as you go. So I might bring that down here. And then join these two together. So you can really have a play and go, oh, I want this thicker, I want this thinner. And just join them to the outer corner. So that's what I've got so far. So what you can do as well then is get a different pencil. If you've got one, you can stay on the same one. I'm going to go on a back onto my 6B because I can create some more differentiation with tones, making some darker darks and some lighter lights. And we're just going to go over the middle line. Even add some darker bits in the corners. And underneath as well, because if you think that's where our shadow might be. So you can sort of draw in your own pattern as to how far the shadow will go. This is what I'm going to fill in for my shadow, and that's just going to be like when we shadowed the iris under the eyelid. So I'm just choosing, shade this bit in a little bit darker. And just along that line as well. So what we've really done there is just create an outline of the lips, and then we're starting to add in some shadow. I'm also going to add some shadow at the bottom here because that's where the sun might not hit, or the light might not hit as much. So let's shade that a little bit darker as well. So you can choose where you'd like to put your darks. And then we're going to go in with more detail soon. I think it helps by knowing where you want to put your shadow before really adding that detail. That sort of helps make the lips look a bit more 3D as well. So I'm just going to shade up here as well a little bit too. Just darkening that outline. Is the Wallandilly Library open now?
Yes, I think it has.
They are, let me have a look. I think they have a maximum capacity. I'll have to actually, let me get the details, and I can have a chat about that a little bit later on. I'll just get Fiona to send me through some info. So I do know that they've opened. I know that they've got, like, obviously restrictions around social distancing. I don't think the services, the normal services, have opened back up, like the children's story time or anything like that as of yet. But I'll oh look, Susie said yes, it opened up yesterday. So let me get some more info from one of the librarians, and I'll be able to chat through in probably about 5 minutes with all that info. But an answer to your question, Linda, are these drawing classes coming to the library? We will definitely look around doing something in the future. We just want to make sure that when we do it, that it's safe to do so. So at the moment, they're going to stay online. I think, Liv, we've got you locked in for like a few more weeks. And once we're in a better position to know when it's safe to do so, we'll definitely have a chat about bringing them into the library.
Beautiful. That's good. Everything's opening again. Nice to be
Starting to feel a bit normal-ish.
So when you've done those two, similar to the eye, we're going to have a section where there might be a bit of a highlight. So I'm going to choose the top of the lip for that. You can add some along here. So just like our, I guess, iris, we're adding some patterns, and we're going to go in a notion like that. So coming down, might add some clusters of, hope you can see that, bits like that, and that's bits, they're the bits that we're going to leave a little bit lighter. So be quite relaxed doing them, add some different sizes, some different shapes. Some might be on the, coming off the edge of the lips. But yeah, just add a few. And at the top, I guess that's essentially what I've done too, is block off a section up here where we're going to have a highlight as well. And similar to doing our eyelashes, we're going to create some, I guess we'll call them wrinkles in the lips, and different patterns coming from the center up. And these aren't going to be white, we're just going to make them a little bit darker. And then you can add some different patterns in there too. So like some different size lines. You can add some coming around here in the corner. And again, it's going to be angled like that. So going from the center out and then up and then back out. And these are going to be a little bit darker than obviously these, because they're going to stay white. You can really darken that center of the lip as well. And add these coming out. And you can add some small ones at the top. Just really about adding extra details or extra textures. That just helps with making our drawings look a little bit more realistic. So you can darken that outline too. And I'm just going to leave it there for now, and just, you can copy mine if you'd like, or you can create your own. You can even add some of that texture at the bottom too, as well.
Liv, I've just posted on our Facebook Live group the website for the library that talks about the opening hours and just some new restrictions around how many patrons can be in, about scanning your library card. So for those that want to get into the library, have a look at the post, just so you know, I guess, what you need to do to be able to go into the library. But it is open, and it is exciting that you can go in there, because I'm actually starting to run out of books to read at the moment, so that's a little bit exciting. And I don't think I explained to everybody, it's been 7 weeks, but I actually don't work for the library. So I work for council. I work in the community development section, and in particular I look after ageing and disability. So even though I've been partnering with the library, and we're all one council, I don't actually work in the library services team. I have lots of colleagues that work behind the scenes on this Facebook when we do this, uploading the photos and sharing all this information and updating their library website for me. So it's been a lovely little partnership project that we've all done together during COVID.
No, it's really nice because Vicky's the one that really made this all happen. She's in the background every tutorial. So yeah, thank you for doing all of that.
A little Wizard of Oz.
Okay, so when you're finished your, you don't have to add heaps. I guess if you're doing a more detailed drawing, you can really get more into it, especially if you've got a photo to copy from. What we're going to do is just very, very softly shade our top lip, and we're going to avoid, like we did with the iris and the pupil, that highlight section, and then do the same with the bottom, and we're going to avoid shading over these little bits that we've done as well. So just have a quick go at doing that. And I'm just blending with the side of my pencil. And during the week as well, if you Google photos of lips or eyes or anything you want to copy, if you've got a photo of a loved one, try and have a go at drawing them and use these techniques, and see how detailed you can make your drawing in terms of detail in the eyes and the lips. And hopefully if we've got time, we'll have a go at drawing a nose. Otherwise I'll do that next week. But yeah, just very softly shade over the top. And it's nice to see that little bit of detail underneath as well, where we've created those lines in there. And I'd love to see more progress shots if you've got any that you want to send through. And it's a little bit difficult as well to shade around all of those bits at the bottom. So you can even, if you shade over the top, you can even go in with your rubber and use the pointed end and just go over that and just add some more highlights, which will be the white bits or the lighter bits. So I know it's quite tricky and it might not look perfect with going around those bits at the bottom, but just try your best. And then you can even add some extra texture into the top highlight just by maybe adding some more lines. So I just added a few little lines around there. So just keep shading. I'll give you another minute to do that. Just going to get my rubber and then I'll be back for the next step. So what you can do as well is you can get some scissors and even cut just a sharper point or a smaller bit off your rubber, and hopefully you can see I've sort of made it quite thin. And what you can do as well is go back in and rub some extra bits out, just so you've got a sharper, I guess, or more accurate point to do that. So what you can do now that we've just shaded it sort of one solid tone is we're just going to shade a little bit more around here, a little bit darker, just to give it some more depth and make the top lighter and this bit a little bit darker. So just go back over and not too dark, but just a little bit. We're just going to create a bit more depth. And just from the middle outwards, and you can even shade little bits as well up the top. Just around the edge on both sides, just to give that illusion that the lips look 3D. And it's a lot easier with a photo too. If you've got a photo as well, you'd like maybe during the week, you can have a practice with a photo of some lips, even if you Google, just so you can identify where you would choose to put some shading. And I'm just shading around the guide of these lines that we've done previously. So just like that, and just to give it a little bit more of a 3D look, and just around the edges of where we have that highlight. Maybe do a bit more around the bottom of our image, just avoiding those, I guess, white sections that we've made before. You can always go back in with the rubber if you go over any, or if you'd like to fix them up. But just at the bottom, I'm just extending this shadow and blending softly up. And just in the corners as well. I think the more contrast we have in a picture, the better it will look. But sometimes it's nice to keep it simple as well. So you can go back and fine up some bits and maybe make some bits darker or lighter with your pencil or your rubber. I'm going to darken some of my outlines. But yeah, there's just a closed lip. And if you'd like for your lip to have some teeth showing, what you can do as well is you can go, okay, we'll open the mouth a little bit. So you can add an extra line here. If you don't want to do that today, you don't have to. You can always watch back and try it again later. But just adding this little line here separates the top and the bottom lip. And I think that's quite a cool tool. And I can do a shade in a little bit darker in the center. Even draw in some teeth. I have to lighten that with the rubber though.
Liv, we've got a very funny comment from Linda. She says that her lips look like a frog. So I am keen to see what this one looks like when we get a progress shot. And then we have a sneaky comment from the library that have said, thanks to Vicky and Olivia. We have made a great team to bring this program to our library members during COVID and hopefully gain some new library followers as well. So that's just a lovely little shout out from the library team who've done some pretty amazing things using Facebook. Who knew? Who knew Facebook could be used for the greater good? They've done some amazing, amazing things. And if you haven't already, jump on and have a look at their story times, their Auslan story times. And also last week, Fiona did a lovely session with the Cancer Council celebrating the biggest morning tea. So go back on and have a look through.
Thank you, Vicky. That's awesome. And I'm sorry, Linda, if that's my teaching. Yeah, send through some progress pictures. I'd love to see them. And literally what I've done there is just add an extra line at the bottom. I've rubbed out the center and I've just added some lines for some teeth. So if you've got quite a small gap, that's usually quite good for adding some teeth, and just add some shading at the bottom and the top too, just to give the teeth some shadow. But yeah, just add that extra line, rub out the center and add some lines in there for teeth, have some darker shading in each corner of that section too. So yeah, I hope that makes sense to people. If not, I can try and answer more questions if you've got questions, or if you've got progress pictures. Definitely just have a few practices during the week. Use some of those tips on extra detail, such as those highlights, adding those lines of detail in there, and even just going back with a rubber as well and creating some lights and some darks. I think I'll start next week as well with noses. I'll do a brief go on noses, and if everyone has a photo ready next week, and we'll integrate our facial features into drawing an actual portrait next week. But the eye progress photos look amazing. Everyone's just smashed that. It's awesome. Even if you guys go on the Wallandilly Facebook page after this and have a look at other people's as well. Something else you can do with your lips is, if you finish that, you don't have to if you don't want to, is you can add, is that like a Cupid's bow for if you've got a nose. You can sort of even add that in if you want, but you don't have to. And that's just having it the same curve as the top lip and just some light shading there. And then you can also have so just some very soft shading even there. And then at the bottom, you can even have an extra shadow in there underneath. But yeah, I think that's all we'll really cover today. If you want to send through some photo progress shots, I'd love to see them. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed all of that. I'll start next week with some noses as well, because I always try and fit too much into these hour and a halves. But yeah.
So we've had some photos come through, Liv, but they just haven't gone up yet, but we'll definitely get them up very shortly. I can see that it looks like Linda sent her frog lips through. There's a couple of others, so nice. Yeah, make sure everybody comes and keeps checking on the progress of everybody else, and keep sending through as you practice throughout the week. I'm looking forward to seeing a face come together next week. That should be really, really, really fun. And I'd be interested to know if everybody's drawn maybe an interpretation of like their own eye, or like a family member or someone. I wonder if it's kind of the eye that they drew is reflective of somebody that they know.
And I'm excited to see all those pictures. Thank you everyone for jumping on again today. I sort of know I put a lot in there, but I know that you can utilize that, and you definitely show off your skill by having them posted during the week. It's amazing. Really, really cool. We'll work on some noses, and then we'll put together a portrait next week. So please don't forget, even if it's on your phone or in a picture frame, just a portrait of somebody. If not, you can have a mirror and draw yourself. Yeah, but I'm excited. So use these skills next week. But thank you again for joining.
Thank
It was very
you.
cool.
Thanks, Liv. It's been great. I'm sure we'll get flooded with comments that'll come through, but there's always lots of love for you and your drawing classes. So we look forward to having you back next week.
Thank you.
Alrighty, well, we're going to sign off, everyone. So keep practicing. Don't forget to go back and have a look at the YouTubes and send any progress photos, and we'll see everyone back again 10:30 next week. Oh, here we go. Tony said thanks. She's had another blast. Lots of love hearts have come through. Thanks from Linda. Excellent. Great to have everyone back again.
Have a good week, everyone.
Have a lovely long weekend, everyone, actually. Hopefully you'll be able to get out and about with some restrictions easing, and yeah, I'm going to get my eyebrows done. All right, we're signing off.
See you later.